Hey guys, it's me Sonia. Today I'm going to forewarn you, I have kids, so you may hear or see them in the video. Also, I am wearing the same shirt as I was wearing in the last video because I have nowhere to go. And so changing clothes every day is not really a thing I do, even though I still shower. So this is what I'm looking like today. So we're on day two of the armor of God. Yesterday we talked about the spiritual gifts that we have, as well as how we don't really pay attention to them. Hush, sweetie. Hush, 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 hush. How we don't really pay attention to them, and then prayer, and why prayer is important. That's what we discussed yesterday. Today we're talking about Satan and his deception, and the things that he does to deceive us, and the things that we don't necessarily acknowledge. Like, some people don't acknowledge Satan at all, and they think everything is just happening in the physical and he has nothing to do with it. And then some people think that Satan's doing everything and he's the problem with everything. So we're talking about that and how those are two extremes. Also, we're talking about in day two that we're fighting the wrong thing. Satan is the problem. So I just talked about that a little bit. I don't want to go over the whole thing because I have my own answers in here. They want you to write your own answers to things in the book. I will tell you one of them. I'll tell you one of them. So we're talking about in 2 Corinthians 11:14. How have you found this tactic of the enemy to be true in your own life? Basically, the enemy's tactic is to deceive. And I put something seemingly good or opportunities of good are not as good for me. And the thing about 2 Corinthians 11:14 is saying that Satan deceives himself as an angel of light. Or it says, the scripture says, no wonder, for Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So he disguises himself in good things. You won't necessarily see him in bad things or foul things or things that will make you automatically put up a red flag. So I put some things that I think are good for me may not be good for me. Like, I might say, oh, this is a gift from God, and it may not be a gift from God. It might be a gift from Satan disguised as a gift from God, and that's where the problem comes in. And then it asks, hush. And then it asks, in Ephesians 6:12, write down hush, sweetie. It asks you to It asks you to write down 4 entities in which you are truly engaged in battle. But it goes back to Ephesians 6:12, and I put the rulers, the authorities, the power of darkness, the power of this dark world, the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. Now, I don't want to go through this whole thing like I'm reading it off based on my answers, because you guys should have the book and you should be going through it. But so far I like the study. I like it. It goes in depth in things, and it's really engaging. So it's not as boring as I thought it was going to be initially. I didn't say it yesterday, but I thought it was going to be a little boring. Priscilla Shirer, I like her sermons, but sometimes I think they run on long. So I may not always listen to the whole thing, and I thought it was going to be boring, and I didn't want to waste this Bible study if it was going to be boring. But it's not boring. It's interesting. And so far, yes, Chinwan.
Mom, Daddy.
Yes, yeah. So far, it's interesting. So I like it, and I will keep you updated on different things that I see in here. One thing that I was pretty happy with is that we looked at other scriptures. So one of the tactics of the enemy is to make you feel that the war isn't already won, that he's not already defeated, that he has power over you in your life. And one thing that I was really encouraged in this book is that it reminded me that, hey, I'm not in the place that I thought I was, because it says that Christ is seated in heavenly realms on the right side of the Father, and when he was resurrected, we also were resurrected with him and seated on the right hand of the Father in heavenly realms. Because the prince of powers, what did I say? The rulers, authorities, powers of darkness, spiritual forces of the evil, they're in heavenly realms. So I was like, if they're in heavenly realms, I'm out. What am I doing here? But look, it says we were also raised with Christ and seated on the right hand of the Father in heavenly realms. Plus, we have these spiritual gifts. So there's no real reason for us to be scared or discouraged or anything like that, because we're seated up there with them. So we're not just earthlings being attacked. We're not just down here being attacked. God has raised us up. When we accepted salvation, he raised us up with Christ, and we're seated in heavenly realms with Christ right now. Even though you can physically see me, I'm seated in my chair. It's a whole different dimension, a whole different realm where I'm also seated with Christ, and you're also seated with Christ in heavenly realms, which I think is pretty awesome. And we're going to go through that a little bit in the book. I like that it also goes over the different names of Satan and what everything means, because it tells you what his character is and how he works and why you shouldn't be afraid of him, which is great. It also gives you scriptures on how Satan's been disarmed, overruled, how he's been mastered, how he's been rendered powerless, and why you shouldn't be afraid of him, which I think is also great. I'm just liking this Bible study right now. I'm liking it a lot. I did go over the armor of God sermon that was preached a little while ago by Priscilla Shirer, because I wanted to see if it matched up with the book, and it does in certain ways, but this is more detailed, and I like that. I like that they also have places where you can write notes, because I'm a note taker. I'm the note taker in church, so the fact that I can write notes in here, and it's encouraged to write notes, and it's encouraged to think about things, I like that. And they keep asking my opinion, and that's great. Now I understand this is supposed to be for a group setting, and I will be going over this book with a group later on, but the group hasn't started yet, and I wanted to start as soon as I could. So I started it now, and I will be starting it with the group a little later so I can get their opinions and everything of that sort. And it's a Bible study group with a church that my mom goes to. So it's not my church. So that's going to be very interesting to see what these ladies have to say about it. Yeah. So some notes that I put on the actionable intel. They have this at the end of the day. Actionable intel, things that I learned from today's lesson. I said basically the enemy is defeated, but I did not believe it until I was reminded of where I was and who I was with in spiritual places. So like I just said, in spiritual places, I rose with Christ, and I'm seated with Christ on the right hand of the Father. So I like that portion. Also, it said that being seated is a position of victory, because when you're in a war, you don't sit down until you're done, until it's defeated. So the fact that we're seated in heavenly places means that we already won. We already had the victory in heavenly places. Plus, I'm with Christ, so I mean that's a great place to be, on the right side of the Father. Like, if there is no other safer place to be, is right there. And I like to say this: if you were in a dangerous situation and you saw a police officer or someone you consider safety, and you were sitting right there with them, wouldn't you feel safe? I also put in my notes that Satan is like a toothless. It's a fly, sweetie. It's a fly. Okay. I put that Satan is like a toothless, one-legged dog barking. So most people are scared of dogs. I heard a story a little while ago. I can't remember who said it, but they basically said that they had a story where every day they would be chased by a dog, and they were so scared of this dog. And then one day they turned around and actually faced the dog, and they saw that the dog didn't have any teeth, and it was one-legged or something like that. And then they were no longer scared of the dog. That's what Satan is like right now. He's like the one-legged, toothless dog that you've been running away from because you were scared that they're going to bite you, but you realize they don't have any teeth to bite you, and they're pretty disabled themselves. So that's what I put. That's what Satan's like. Also, Satan wants us to mistrust God. I put also I'm not just on earth, but I'm also in heavenly realms. I mentioned that a couple times so far. I want you guys to get it. It was, and also it was won once Christ died and was resurrected. So the battle was won once Christ died and was resurrected. So every time you have doubt or discouragement or something about that regarding Satan, just know that the battle is already won. And it was won a long time ago. So those are my notes on actionable intel. I haven't started day 3 because day 3 is tomorrow. But that's what I got for today. I hope I summarized the day pretty well. If I didn't, well, you have the book and you can summarize it yourself. But I just wanted to share that's what I did. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow.